Welcome, everybody, to this week's special edition of WTF World. We have, in light of the situation going on in Israel, we have our correspondent from Israel who has joined us today to fill us in on what's going on. I'm going to turn this over to Tally and let her explain, give us a little intro and help us get going here. So, Tally, take it away.
Okay, well, first let's introduce ourselves, the regular cast and crew. I'm Tolly. I'm at an undisclosed location. Dirk and John are coming to us from Las Vegas, and Rachel and Ariel are our hippies out in California. Leilah's coming to us from Israel, also at an undisclosed location. At 6:30 a.m. Israel time on Saturday, October 7th, Hamas infiltrated Israel and carried out the worst terror attack in Israel's history. And Israel and Hamas are now at war. At the time that it happened, Leilah was in Sderot, where I'll let Leilah tell her story.
So I live in Sderot. I was actually not at home. I was at a friend's house when everything started.
Sderot is on the border
Right.
of Gaza.
It's one of the border cities. It is not a kibbutz or a yishuv, which are like the smaller cities. It's a bigger city where we are used to getting a lot of rockets, and it's not an everyday thing, but it's definitely something that people are used to and don't really worry about. And so I think that it was just unbelievable. I was getting videos when it first started of them riding around on the trucks, and we thought it was fake. We thought it wasn't real. Like, we couldn't possibly put in our minds that they had managed to get over the wall or managed to get through to us in any way. And we were having hard times with the cellular, because they were also throwing rockets. So our cell lines were going down, our power was going in and out. I'm trying to keep on track on one thought. It's a little difficult, but it's unhuman what happened. Like, it's really unbelievable. We weren't getting basically any news. Where I was with my friend, we were having a really hard time because we didn't have any cell service, so we didn't know what was going on. We knew that they came in and they took the police station in Sderot, and then we just started hearing guns, like gunfire, as well as rockets, and we didn't know what was going on. We were just sitting in the bomb shelter, hoping for it to be over, and hoping to wake up and realize that it was a dream or a nightmare.
So the terrorists got into the police station and put on police uniforms.
From what I know, like, we were hearing police cars outside. We were hearing that they were telling people that it was okay, that they had killed the terrorists, that they could come out now, and that it was fine. And the police were not, in fact, police. They were not okay. They also stole ambulances. They stole jeeps, like army jeeps and army cars, and tried to pass themselves off, as it happened even just yesterday or today in Zikim. I don't know if it was today or yesterday, that a bunch of IDF came in, and there were IDF soldiers there, but it was just Hamas dressed up in the uniform.
So they went around knocking door to door, telling people to come out, that they were
Yeah.
safe.
Yeah, and then kidnapping or killing whoever it was that would open the door. I will say I was very, very fortunate. We were hearing like Arabic. We were hearing the gunshots, but they didn't try to like knock our door down or anything. Like I know that happened in a lot of places. Luckily for us, because our mamad had no way of, bomb shelter had no way of like locking or closing itself. And it was just like every single thing that they were putting on the news, it just kept feeling like this was not happening, not real. How could this in fact be happening? It just felt like I don't know, I don't know, like a nightmare, that I was just waiting to wake up from. I kept pinching myself, and I remember waking up and not understanding what was going on. My friend's dad was there, and I heard him call her name, and I thought maybe he fell or something, or he needed help, and then just panic, just straight panic. All of a sudden I heard the bombs, and we ran into the bomb shelter. We slept there that night. And
It must have been hard to sleep.
yeah. Yeah.
And excuse me
yeah.
for just a minute there. This is like day 5 or day 6, right?
That was day 1.
Yeah, no.
This now, yeah.
It's now
day
5. I think it happened on Saturday. Now it's Wednesday.
Okay, so
hang on.
Are the terrorists still on your side of the wall? Have they gone back, or are they still infiltrating the area?
So
Do you know?
we've gotten over 1,500 of them. We don't really know if there's any left. They're still searching all of the cities by the border. There were 22 cities
Okay,
that got in.
did you say captured or killed? 1,500.
There's I think killed.
Okay.
Sorry, my dog is freaking out. And there were 22 cities that were raided, and I know today even they killed 3.
Killed 3 what?
More Hamas generals, people who came infiltrators
In Israel. Yeah.
Yeah. We just got the news as we were about to start, that they've come in from the north, from Lebanon. There were massive like red alerts all over the north, saying maybe drone infiltration. They didn't know what it was. They suspected, just because of the surprise attack that happened, that they were probably going to do something similar. So obviously we're getting prepared this whole time, which I think will have a big difference in what happened. You know, the Hamas attack was it was a surprise. All those sorry.
It's okay.
So I know that you could. Oh, go ahead.
No, sorry. Yeah.
Oh, I know that you could hear them outside of the window, and they were knocking at your door, and that must have been terrifying.
We could hear them. I was so nervous, because I was only thinking, you know, the police station where they took. I don't know where it is. You know, I've only been living here for a year and something, 2 years. Like, I don't even know where the police station is. How do I not know where the police station is? How it's like, I didn't know where it was. All we could hear was shooting. We could hear, it was into the night. I remember like pressing myself into the, I remember, sorry, my friend who I was with just called me. I remember just pressing myself into the bed or onto the floor next to the bed, hoping that even if the bullets got through the walls, that they wouldn't hit me because I had a couch on one side and a couch on the other side. I was lying on the ground, and I just remembered like my friend was praying and I was praying alongside her. We were just like, it's just such a scene of shock. Hang on, she just called me for the third time in a row. I'm sorry. I want to
That's
make
okay.
sure
Come back to us when you're ready.
Yeah,
okay.
go ahead. Let her know.
That first day, I don't, so that first day, or I guess it was evening for them, Israel cut off the power and cell service for Leilah's city so that the Hamas would not be able to communicate with each other. But it was not in the news, so she didn't know, and we didn't know. And so for 12 hours, we could not talk to each other. And for our whole family, that was just a nightmare.
For those people
having
who know,
no idea.
Leilah is your daughter and Ariel's.
Yes.
So
Niece.
that's the connection there for those people that did not know that. So
Yes.
yeah, you had to have been just scared shitless.
Yeah, it was from 3 p.m. until about 3 a.m. when about 3 a.m. she finally was able to make my phone ring. We couldn't talk, but
Right.
at 3, she got my phone to ring a couple of times, and that was the hugest relief of my life. Yeah, for 12 hours. For the first few hours, I tried to just talk to myself and tell myself that she was sleeping, that she managed to get some sleep in all of that. But after a few hours, I knew something was wrong, and I was just up until, well, I've been up, but I was just up waiting to and hoping to hear from her, and talking to my friends in Israel, hoping that they could get through. And I don't have any friends that live on the border, so nobody knew what was happening. And I know for even more time, Leilah and her boyfriend were not able to communicate with each other. This all started when she wasn't at home. She was visiting a friend for Shabbat.
Okay, and we've got
And
Leilah coming back in. So
okay.
hi,
Hi,
Leilah.
Leilah. I was just talking about us not being able, and you not being able to communicate with anybody for those 12 hours. And then, how did you get out?
My boyfriend, well, at first I didn't know anything. We didn't have any news. We didn't know what was going on outside. But I saw the neighbors packing up and leaving. And I saw one car, and I saw 3 cars, and I saw 6 cars. And I was like, okay, well, if these people are getting out, like, please try. I was having mixed feelings because I was worried about going outside and seeing everything that had
This was
happened.
in the morning, right? There was sort of a break in things, or
So, yeah, this was in the morning. There was about a 5 or 6 hour break. We didn't understand what was going on because we didn't have the news. We didn't know if maybe we had just like picked them off the map, or we didn't know what was going on. And so we just thought, okay, well, better like it's quiet now. Let's try to take advantage of it. So we all started packing our bags, and I was calling my boyfriend and asking him like, hey, what's going on? What do you see? Because he's on the 4th floor. We were on the ground floor. So like he had some of the windows still up. We had all the windows shut, locked, all the doors shut, locked. We didn't turn on a light for 2 days. it was just pitch black. And so we didn't know what was going on. And so I asked him, and he said, yeah, he sees people leaving. And so he packed the bag and he came and got me, and we drove to his family's house, which is where we are now. Luckily, because literally an hour later, an hour after we left, they closed the streets again because they found more terrorists.
So
And yeah,
I'm sorry, Leilah. At this point in time, at this moment there, is there evidence of the IDF or the local authorities, taking any kind of action or control, or are you still don't know who's who or what's what?
I can say that because I really couldn't see anything. Like, well, we were leaving, and when we were getting ready to leave, we saw a bunch of armored cars coming in. And now that I have internet access, we've been seeing lives from reporters who are sitting on the entrances to the border, sitting and seeing those armored trucks. And that's what we were seeing inside the city. We were seeing lots of armored trucks coming by, asking people, hey, have you heard shots in this area? Have you heard anything in this area? Like, if you've heard anything, let us know. And then when we were leaving, almost every street had like cop cars, big Jeep, like army Jeeps. Like they're scouring the cities, basically.
That drive must have been terrifying.
Yeah. It was definitely scary. I was praying the whole time. Just, everything's gonna be okay, everything's gonna be okay, everything's gonna be okay. We had the dogs with it. We have 2 dogs, so not a lot of sorry, I'm moving. I'm a little stressed out.
Okay.
We have 2 dogs. One of them is a boxer, just massive, like most, if not a lot of places that are open to taking people, or hotels that are open to taking people. I don't want to put that kind of burden on them. Like, even friends who ask, like, hey, you can stay with us. Like, I don't. We have this massive dog. We have 2 dogs. We're lugging around just whatever we could fit in the bag before we decided to run away. And it just, I don't know. I'm still reeling.
It was
It's
really
hard.
brave. I didn't want you to run for it. I was so scared, but I'm so glad that you did. That was incredibly
I
brave.
was worried that if we didn't make a run for it, we'd never get the chance.
Yeah.
And are you back home now, or are you still somewhere else?
No,
I don't think you can go down there.
My boss just went down. They're opening not today. I'm fairly certain everyone's gone now. They came and had buses taking people away. But they had the supermarkets open. It was a shock. So like, moms didn't have baby formula, didn't have diapers, people didn't have any food. Like, it was a surprise attack. So grocery stores started trying to open, or trying to at least get people sent baby formula and the necessities. But I can say, even just being here where I felt safer, yesterday they put out an announcement saying, like, have 3 liters of water for each person for 3 days, ready in the bump shelter, have flashlights, have radios, have all sorts of stuff. And people started panic buying. Everyone ran directly to the supermarkets. There are videos of the supermarkets that are completely empty. Eggs, not finding milk.
Leilah works in a market, and do you want to tell them just what your boss told you? Just Leilah's boss just was giving everything away.
Oh yeah, they were just giving everything. A lot of this, I've heard a lot of the supermarkets were just giving stuff away because all the power was out, so all the refrigerators were out, all the milk was going spoiled. So they were giving stuff out, and even if not, like just opening the stores just so anyone who was still there and needed something could get in. But even now I have because I'm from there, my phone gets alerts for every time there's a red alert there. So every time I see it on my phone, and I just think how lucky, how extremely not, lucky that we got out in time.
Yeah.
I'm curious about, like, I don't really know the size of the forces on both sides. Like, how many people came in versus like how big is the city that you were in? Is it like 100,000 people and like 10 guys got in, or it's like what's the
ratio?
So I have no idea. I have no idea how many people were actually in each city. They said 1,500 came over. I know Sderot was fortunately not one of the ones that got hit as badly as the kibbutzim. I don't know exactly.
Still really don't know how many people got over because they still haven't. They still aren't even sure that they've found everybody.
Yeah.
Well, and
Sderot has 30,000 people,
15,
more or less.
1,500 people in a guerrilla warfare situation is a lot of people and can do a lot of damage in a very short period of time. And I think one of the things that we are missing in this country is that, we hear that these terrorists came across the wall and got into the city. It's just one person can do so much damage in a short period of time. And I think that's what made it as horrific as it is.
I feel like Americans tend to conceptualize anything terrorism related in terms of 9/11s or like how many 9/11s. So as far current like Israeli casualty numbers are around like 1,200, which population wise would be the equivalent of like 14 times the number of people that were lost in 9/11.
Yeah, I saw something like that. Yeah.
Although, in this case, it was just people coming in and gunning down and torturing and killing random people.
And it's ongoing. So
Yes.
it's like, it's also a different.
There's some,
I mean,
desert dance party, like I think 300 people were gunned down at.
They've been finding just horrible things continually. Like they just find horrible things. So it's nice to hear stories like the grocery store or
I know on our way up we were seeing cars that, like, we saw one that was fully up. Oh no.
Are you having a translation problem?
Roundabout. I saw like there was a car up on top of the roundabout in the middle that was just completely destroyed, bullet holes, all the windows were smashed. And you can't even look at it, because the second you look at it, you are admitting to yourself that something happened here. You just have to get out.
Yeah, I'm sure that you were trying very much to focus straight ahead.
Yeah.
Because there are so many things.
So, but I'm curious, like, how you said like war has been declared. Like, how do you fight a terrorist organization without a home? Like without a country, like.
Yeah, it's very difficult, because no matter what we do, we're the bad guys. There's already protests in America, in Australia, in all standing for for Palestine and standing for this and that, because no one has any idea what's going on. They see, oh, there's a
Right. People are
war
very confused about the situation, and people think that this is some sort of war between Israel and Palestine, which is not what it is at all whatsoever. And there's no excusing terrorism. And
Part of the
There's
difficulty that the people living in Gaza, they're not all Hamas. I
Right.
mean,
no, not at
they're
all.
but
Like,
it is a problem that
Palestinians
their
and
government
Hamas are
is
not.
Hamas.
they're what?
But it is a problem that their government is Hamas.
Right, but I'm saying
Like
They're
when your
elected
government is a terrorist organization that has a vested interest in continuing the fight and never having peace, like you're gonna
and
have.
so where are these people going to go?
I just read that U.S. is trying to negotiate with Egypt to provide a
Right.
corridor for Palestinians to exit Gaza.
Because that's the only way
Yeah.
out, is through Egypt.
Well, it's either through Egypt
Well,
or through
imagine-
Israel. Right?
Yeah, what are we gonna, the problem with even that is, okay, so we're gonna let the non-Hamas Gazans into Egypt. Okay, but what if one of the Hamas guys comes in and the border between Egypt and Israel isn't closed.
Yeah.
It's not, and so they could just all go to Egypt and then come back, and it's just like it's
It's an impossible situation.
When you look at the history of the area, there's no real clear solution, regardless of what you do and how you do it. It's not
Well,
going to
it's
happen.
really a big thing and a big part of finding any sort of solution is to acknowledge that Hamas and Palestine are not the same thing, and that Hamas does not care about Palestinian citizens, and their goal is not anything to the effect of free Palestine or anything positive for Palestinian people. Their goal is killing Jews. That is their only goal, and that's what they came to do. And yes, it will be difficult. There are over 100 hostages that have been taken into Gaza, and it's going to be
well over.
What's that?
I think it's well over. I'm not sure exactly how many.
160 was the last I heard.
Yeah.
Right.
At least
They just, they don't know. It's impossible, I guess, to really know exactly. But Israel does not leave its prisoners behind.
And you can see that with Gilad Shalit. You can see that we traded 1,000 people for one person back.
I think it was like 1,200.
Yeah.
Well, the tradition.
So those people are pretty much not going to survive, most likely, sadly.
I mean, Israel has done amazing things to retrieve hostages before.
Yeah.
That's
They're one of the best in the world at it. And amazing thing, or the really scary thing about this whole situation is that the Hamas got through the Israeli intelligence and their forces, and that's something that in the history of Israel has never happened. I mean, on a scale like this, and so
when you think about it, it's inevitable at some point, because it's like when I was a police officer, I try to explain to people, criminals spend 24/7 trying to figure out how to screw over somebody.
right.
Hamas is the same. They're terrorists. They spend 24/7 for decades trying to figure out how to get in and create as much damage as they possibly can. And what's even worse, they do it knowing that they don't really give a shit about any collateral damage with anybody on their side or anybody else's side. They don't care. All they want to do is just kill other people.
Well, collateral damage on their side helps, which is why they use human shields, because the more like innocent Palestinians die, the more they can rally support for their cause and get support from the international community.
there's a reason that
The
all of
other
their
problem is that you have a whole bunch of people that really don't understand the Middle East at all, the politics, the history, the religions. They don't understand any of that shit, but yet they still have a say in what goes on.
yeah.
Right. There are tons of people obviously still like online the last few days who very much don't understand this situation and think that it's some sort of war between Israel and Palestine and that it's some sort of rebellion, revolt, and just things that it's not. And it's unfortunate, but yesterday was very heartening, I think. I know for Leilah it meant a lot. Biden's speech yesterday, Biden unequivocally and like without any buts, completely offered support for Israel. And I think it was actually like the most I don't know, it was the most supportive speech I think that we've seen from an American president. And I know for Leilah that meant a lot.
Okay, guys, Leilah, I'm so happy that you're safe. Um, I'll try to keep an eye on what's going on, but I have to leave. We have a issue here at the house, so
Okay.
So I'll talk to you guys later.
All right.
Okay.
Stay safe. Stay safe.
It was nice to see you.
Leilah, I'm curious. I mean, and I could be, I'm uninformed, but I'm curious what you think about kind of the parallels of, 9/11 allowed the United States to pretty much like wage a war on an invented enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and convinced a lot of Americans to join the military and to fight very long, enduring war. And it benefited the politicians in charge at that time for military defense contracts and things like that on a political level. And I feel like before this happened, there was a lot with Netanyahu around him trying to sort of strong arm the government. And I wonder how this might have an impact on people turning their eyes away from that situation or potentially giving him the power that he was looking for.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because from what I know, what they were saying was that they just made an like emergency government. They added they added more people to the government and said that anything that isn't related to right now the war they are not talking about. They enough
it's supposed
people,
to be like a union government.
right? Because like we don't need to be thinking about it right now. We don't need to be talking about it right now. Nobody needs to be fighting right now because it's only the time for us to be. And I've seen it. Anyone who can't help goes and donates blood. There was a like 8-mile long wait for giving blood. There was 1,500 people waiting to give blood. There are all over the country massive warehouses that are coming and collecting gear and food and water and anything and sending it to the soldiers. I'm seeing lives, like, TikTok lives of people in their cars driving over to where they have Iron Dome stations and giving the soldiers home cooked meals. And there's so much unity that's happened that I think the time to talk about what is going to happen in the future is going to happen at some point. But at this point, it's one of the last things on people's minds.
It's been nice to see things like that. And do you want to talk about your boyfriend? What's your boyfriend doing right now?
He volunteered to go back into the army.
A lot of soldiers have been called back up, but he actually volunteered.
Yeah, there are 360,000 reserves that called up. They got called up to be either in the south or to be monitoring the border up north. And luckily, because the reason I was late was because I was just seeing that there are terrorist infiltrations. They're coming down on the paragliders, just like Hamas did in in Gaza. And, you know, this time, you know, the expression that they use every time, just like the Yom Kippur War, like, you know, we're caught with our pants down. It's embarrassing. We don't know how to, like, it's complicated because you don't want to use too much force, because obviously there are civilians still there and you can't, but at the same time, not using enough force will just, they'll just assume there's no consequences. There will be a ceasefire and they'll do it again.
Yeah. But yeah, it's, oh,
Sorry, no, it's okay.
that's okay. Yeah. No, it's not, but it's nice to hear things like people volunteering. Like your boyfriend has volunteered to go back. He was not called up. He volunteered.
The line just for the building where all of the soldiers who like re-enlist come, there, the highway behind it had, I don't know how many cars, looked like thousands of cars just stalled on the highway because everyone just left their cars there and came in and got enlisted and left. They just there's so many cars. It's insane how unified everyone is right now. Everyone is trying as hard as they can, whether it's just donating money, donating equipment, donating food, giving blood, going back into the army.
And the population that are involved in this, it's like 50-50 Jewish people and non-Jewish people, like everyone coming together, like that kind of union.
From what I've heard, I don't know a lot about what's happening in the Christian and Arab community, but I will say that this whole time Hamas has been trying to get all the Arabs in Israel and around to try to, you know, cause riots and start fights and start killing people. And they, as of yet, they haven't. They've stood pretty firmly on the side of, like, we're not involved.
Right. I've seen them. I've just seen photos and stuff, but I've seen them like volunteering for the, like, Israel's version of the Red Cross. And yeah. So I didn't know that. I haven't seen anything negative from the Arab community of Israel.
Yeah, I wonder if it's also that many in Gaza that are also, you know, just kind of trapped there, not wanting to be involved in terrorism.
Oh yeah,
I know there's a lot.
It's the majority.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're in some deep poo-poo too, because they're really running out of electricity. The diesel fuel, they can't replenish that, and that's what, you know, runs their generators and stuff. And you know, so those people.
But that isn't something.
Sure.
That also isn't something new.
No, I know.
Sorry, like because everything that is given to the government there, whether it be money, whether it be concrete to be building houses, whether it be electricity or whatever, it's the shipments get given by Hamas to the like richer families who then sell it.
Right.
All of the cement is used for building on the terror tunnels, the tunnels under the schools, under the hospitals, under the apartment buildings. You know, they see us hitting buildings, and they're saying, how dare you, how could you, this is against everything. But there's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do because that's where it is. That's where the things are. And sorry. And I'm a little.
That's okay, Leilah. If what can we do in this country to help? What can the average person here in America do to help the situation?
I think knowledge is the biggest thing. Understanding what's happening and not just reading one thing on the internet and deciding your stance. You know, all of these people who are so deeply into the Free Palestine have just glossed over everything because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what happened. Israel's wrong. Even though this has nothing to do with Palestine, this is a terrorist organization, Hamas. This is not has no. It's just people because it's Israel have latched onto this. Oh well, they deserve it, or oh well, that's what they've been doing, so that's what they should get back. And it's just for people to just take their heads out of the sand and just be on the internet for like 1 minute and understand, see the video, see the news, understand what's happening, because what happened here is evil, just like everyone there has been saying evil, absolutely evil. Seeing the things that they did, it will destroy you. I can't watch any of the videos. I can't listen to anything because I was hearing the gunshots. And knowing that I was hearing the gunshots, that person who died with the gunshot that I heard makes me like freak out. I can't
you're
breathe.
traumatized, as anyone would be.
And so it makes me so upset when all I see is, oh, but that's what they get. Haha. Yeah, screw you. And it's like, this is so much more than what people think it is.
Right. It's not even a retaliation against an army or something. Like these are terrorists who came in and raped and murdered and killed babies.
And kidnapped and set things on fire and stood in the way of cars to kill everyone trying to escape.
Yeah, this was a huge attack on civilians, and the things that they did are unspeakable, literally. And understanding, I guess, is the biggest thing, more than anything. I'd agree.
And Leilah, what is the general feeling about? I know one of the situations that the Israeli government is facing is the hostage situation, where they can't just go in and start kicking ass because you don't know where those hostages may be. And there's no doubt in my mind that the Hamas is using them as shields, to make sure.
Just like they always have with their own people.
Right. So,
well,
what is the feeling in the general population that you've been exposed with?
I know there have been talks about going in on foot. I mean, there's the problem is that we don't know where they are, but where they probably are is in the terror tunnels, and the tunnels, like I said, Hamas are not freedom fighters. They don't have Palestinians. They don't have Palestine in their heads when they build these terror tunnels underneath hospitals, underneath schools, underneath apartments, and we have no way of gaining access to even see what's in them or see if they're there. We have no idea. So I've heard talk about it being a ground mission and sending people in on foot and just searching and just trying to find them. But I know that they're looking. It's one of those things where these awful families who have already gone through enough. And I saw a video today. There was 2 days ago a bunch of people that hid when it happened, hid very well and didn't know that they were gone, that the terrorists had been killed. And until the police came and found them, they heard they somehow were made aware of them and came in and found all these people. And I saw a video of this man, having his brother call him, and this reporter was standing outside, and all of the soldiers cocked their guns and were ready because they heard someone screaming, and they all went inside. And it was this guy hearing his brother's voice, who he thought he would never hear his voice again. And it's just like, there's no way you can't fight for something like that.
I think the idea of going in, like as a member of the military, into places where you don't know, with who knows if, that sounds like incredibly brave, but also like absolutely terrifying and very risky.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think it's awful.
I mean, I think that's I think that's why Israel has leaned so heavily on airstrikes. But at a
Right.
certain point, it becomes difficult to, like she was saying, to really get in and find out what's going on and find these places, and with airstrikes, especially with the civilian shield being used.
Yeah.
Right. And Israel has never abandoned hostages. So this is a really tough situation.
Well, if
I
anybody,
mean, it seems like a perfect plan to lure Israeli troops out of Israel into Gaza to do this. I mean, it just sounds incredibly dangerous.
Yeah, this has been well thought out. This is not something that they planned in a day.
Yeah.
and
So sorry.
see plans
It's
for,
like Biden was saying in his speech yesterday with the Golda. He was saying the Israelis
For
have
people
a
who
secret.
don't know,
Sorry.
he was
Go ahead.
He was talking about his first trip to Israel, and this was before the Yom Kippur War. Even this is where we get to old old man Biden was in Israel, and this was when Golda Meir was prime minister, and he had a conversation with her. Go ahead, Leilah. Where she told him, we have a secret weapon. She whispered to him, we have a secret weapon. And he asked what it was. And she said, we have nowhere else to go. That was just one of the striking parts of his speech. But I think another.
I am gonna have to go. I got some sort of alert saying to stay in your home, stay in your bunker, and I don't know where it's from. And
Okay.
go.
Okay, see, thank you so much.
I love you. I'll talk to you guys later.
Okay. We love you. Stay safe.
Bye.
Be safe.
בואי. נכנסים לחדר, בואי. סיימת כבר? כן. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, so Biden just offered unequivocal support with no buts at all. It was just total support for Israel. And the big part of it was if anyone else is thinking of using this time, considering taking advantage of this moment, don't. And I think,
well, the one thing about him is he's not all talk.
right. Right. No, I mean, there are already there's already one ship there, and there will be more. And Hamas definitely made a mistake in taking American hostages.
I was going to bring that up, but we didn't have time. And guys, we are out of time. I'm going to have to wrap this up. Thank you all for jumping in here at the last minute so we could talk with Leilah. Our prayers are with her and with you guys. So
hey, it's
thanks,
important
guys.
to get this information out. So.
All right.
Yeah.
And thank you all for tuning in, and we'll keep you updated on as events unfold. What we can do. So hang in there. Stay safe, people.